America has existed for over 300 years, and ever since then, the political landscape has changed vastly. With how much US politics have changed, it's important to understand the nature of this change. As time has gone on, both the Democrats and Republicans have become more radical and extreme. Like now, at the current moment, there is a movement by the right wing called Project 2025, the Republican Party's plan to usurp the US into a military dictatorship. To fully understand the mass polarization in the US, we need to take a look at history. When George Washington gave his farewell speech, he warned the country about the two-party system and how it could damage both the stability and reputation of the nation. He was right. By the 19th century, there were two political parties, the Democrats and Republicans, one pro-slavery, one anti-slavery. Pro-slavery Democrats would constantly harass abolitionist Republicans, and abolitionist Republicans would fight back. Radical violence like this is what led to events such as Bleeding Kansas and even the American Civil War, which killed over 620,000 Americans. While the ideologies of the Republicans and Democrats have changed over time, the Civil War is proof of how polarization can be dangerous, especially among political parties.
Now, Congress is more polarized than ever before. Ideological shifts have occurred due to retirements, lost re-elections, or in some cases, a switch in parties. It has become increasingly hard to find common ground between the two parties as the gap between them continuously increases. According to the Pew Research Center, Democrats and Republicans are farther apart ideologically today than at any time in the past 50 years.
The ideological shifts happening in Congress can be connected with geographic and demographic shifts of the Congress people. Republicans are now overwhelmingly from the South, and more Democrats are people of color.
Both parties view the other party in an increasingly negative light, like being lazy, closed-minded, unintelligent, immoral, or dishonest. With increasingly negative connotations of the other party, it's hard to promote efficiency. This creates a further gap between citizens of opposing parties, along with politicians and their abilities to get bills passed.
Just like in the olden days, this polarization has also led to increased violence and controversial actions. Extremist groups and movements have become more prominent, leading to mass riots, open fighting, and insurrection.
We've already seen this extreme polarization negatively affect our democracy. In 2023, the Speaker of the House election took place, and it was the longest election for that position since 1860. The election process was so difficult because the Republican Party couldn't agree on a candidate due to division and extremism within the party. A few months later, the elected Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, was ultimately ousted when he compromised with the Democrats to avoid a government shutdown.
While Congress has always struggled to pass spending bills, its efficiency has continued to decrease over the past 20 years. In 11 out of the last 13 years, they've yet to pass a single bill on time.
When it comes to the extremist views of right-wing parties, violence is still very prevalent in today's society. Extremist movements pose a huge domestic terrorism threat in this country, as they undermine peace and security, human rights, and sustainable development. This obviously affects the lawmaking process.
One of our members interviewed someone with some knowledge of political science. Here's the interview right now. For the safety of both of them, their faces will be blurred out, just so you guys know.
Hi, Dr. Koteris.
Hi, Paris.
Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. You're welcome.
Today I'd love to talk to you about the current state of the parties.
Sure, I'd love to talk about that.
All right. Do you think that the Democratic and Republican political parties are both extremists?
Yes, I definitely think that they're both extremists. And political scholars think that the Democrats and Republicans are farther apart in their ideologies now than at any time in the past 50 years, which even began before that, during World War II. And among senators and representatives, there used to be an ideological overlap in the middle, where you'd find relatively conservative Democrats and liberal Republicans, but that's mostly disappeared.
Is one party more polarized than the other, and why?
Well, both parties are polarized, but to differing degrees. A study from the Pew Research Center has shown that Republicans have moved much further to the right of center than Democrats have moved to the left of center. And there currently aren't many moderates in Congress. Since 1971, the shift has been that most Democrats are slightly more liberal, but most Republicans are much more conservative.
Why did the political parties continue to become more extreme over time?
Well, the Democratic and Republican parties used to disagree on policy, which is a healthy thing in a democracy. But now, partisanship has more to do with each side just trying to destroy the other side. And they're not willing to let up on that. And the main effect is that Congress has become mostly dysfunctional. It's become increasingly difficult to pass a budget, much less actual legislation. The art of compromise between the parties has been substantially reduced.
Overall, if we want to avoid this inefficiency, violence, and polarization, it's important to address it before it's too late. The best way to avoid extremism is to educate the public. By teaching civics to every American and making higher education more accessible, we can move this country in the right direction and away from polarization.
Thanks for watching.
What are you guys doing in my show? Get out of here!
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the ninth inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene.